Cooks on the stove. Welcome back. Today we are going to. There's a lot of crazy things that happened this weekend in sports. Um, Most importantly, football. And so we're going to do a recap of college football week 10 today, and we will have an NFL recap coming out tomorrow. So starting us off with this craziness of crazy, Duke Blue Devils Friday night defeated Boston College to become bowl eligible. Shout out Anthony Nelson. Sent me a bowling pin emoji. Love it. Loved it. Got me fired up. Okay. I was looking at their schedule because Nelson was texting me just like saying how good of a season they're having, blah, 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 all this stuff. If they don't get upset in overtime to Georgia Tech, this Duke team would be in the ACC championship because their only loss would be North Carolina, who beat them by a field goal. Okay. And then they played Virginia Tech, Pitt, and host Wake Forest. They could win out. So
Sure.
they're not getting a lot of attention. Shout out Duke. I just think that's kind of cool.
Yeah, where to start us off. Moving on from that, let's get into some of the other interesting games of the week. Um, First off, we had kind of a subpar showing from Ohio State, one of the remaining undefeated teams in college football, and they only beat Northwestern 21-7. I'm pretty sure they were losing at first. They had never trailed
Yes,
by 7 points
it was
before.
7-7 at halftime.
Yeah. Surprising. I believe there was a stat where it was like they were down 7-0 after the first quarter, and it was like the first time since like a while they had been trailing by 7 points. But yeah, terrible inclement weather kind of hindered the passing game in that, and a team that's kind of built around CJ Stroud and kind of their wide receiver weapons. It
Well, I
showed you
mean,
how they had to
it
adjust.
shows us once again, Zach, that the Northwestern Stadium is just atrocious. And
Yeah.
yeah, the weather was terrible too. I mean, you saw Noah Ruggles kick that kick, and it just
Yeah,
stood. It like
backwards.
literally hit a brick wall and then pushed.
Yeah.
Like it's just the weather is bad, which is I understand, but at the same time, I did see a tweet or a post or something. And it was like you have no awareness. Like, do you not under? Oh, it's Joel Klatt. Joel Klatt was like, you're playing at Northwestern in November. You expect the weather to be good there. Like they're coming out so surprised. Like, yeah, obviously it's still hard to play in that, but like, don't come out shocked that the weather at Northwestern beginning of November is bad.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Every time I feel like we bring up Northwestern, we can't find a good thing to say about them.
Yeah,
I want to know. I want to know how in the world their recruiters aren't signed to some of the best programs in the world. Because how the fuck do you convince any kid in America that Northwestern is the place to be?
because it's a great education. It's one of the best schools in the country publicly.
I mean, go somewhere else then, bro. Like you can do a lot
Yeah,
better than
like it's a
Northwestern.
really good school. Like it's like a very good school.
Hey, we're a great school. We play some shitty football, and our field's going to be so bad that you're going to want to kill yourself. Oh, and you're never going to have anyone at your games, and your mother might not even show up to watch you play your first collegiate game.
Yeah,
Keep
yeah,
that in
but also like, what if you're a two-star kid? You have zero Power Five offers, and your only Power Five offers Northwestern. Why wouldn't?
mind. I mean, touche. But at the end,
Yeah, let's go.
yeah. Then again, I'd be pretty suspect. If you were a two-star kid though, and you showed up to school one day and you had no offers and you're a two-star and you were like, "Oh, I just got offered by Northwestern," I'm like, you just pulled the most random fucking university name out of your ass. First of
Yo,
all,
so this is how I got the idea. No disrespect whatsoever. I love you, man, and you're one of my best fucking friends. Been one of my longest friends for a long time. But my boy Estefano Feliciano had no Power Five offers. And then a week before signing day, his senior year, Northwestern threw him an offer, and I told him to fucking take it. But he went to ODU.
oh fuck, that's so funny. Not only that, the school's called Northwestern, yet they're dead center of the Midwest. Like, could not
Yeah,
be.
I think it's because of the Northwestern of Chicago, Zach. But I mean,
Should be more specific. Call yourself Northwest. I think I would have more respect for you if you were like a more specified name and you were like, "Oh, we're Northwest Chicago University." Like, I'd be like, "Damn, like they're pretty
NCC,
good."
The
Yeah, they're
NCC.
yeah. I'm like, that's a great school considering how fucking uber specific their name is. But the fact that they're just like so general, like here's the way I view it. The more general your name is, the better you have to be. Like you can't just call yourself Florida State and not dominate the state of Florida. Like you can't call yourself like look at USC, all of South California. Are you fucking serious?
It's too much. It's too much.
Yeah, too much. Too much writing on you. Like not happening. North
Alabama. They got nothing.
Northwestern nothing. Northwestern Chicago, I don't know you, but I respect you. You just
And
call
it's
yourself
not, and you're a
Northwestern.
smaller school, so you're getting a small pool. It's you get more of a clip. You'll get a more like niche like group.
Yeah, yeah, because you get really weird apparel. Like who wouldn't want a shirt of just a random ass like county of fucking Chicago or
Is that a
Illinois?
D1 school? Dude, that's a Big Ten school.
Big facts.
But yeah, moving on to that,
Northwestern, change your name.
we had TCU play Texas Tech, which Zach said was gonna be a close game. I said it wasn't gonna be a close game, but it was a close game. They won by 10, did cover for us. We took TCU plus 8.5, minus 8.5. Good game. And the thing I liked about it, Zach, from a perspective of like see what I saw out of TCU was that they got hit with adversity hard in the mouth from the beginning of the game, 10 points, like off rip from Texas Tech. And then instead of freaking out, like, oh my gosh, we're going to lose our ranking, like, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? They kept their cool. They put 21 up in the second half, 21 in the fourth quarter to get a 10-point win. Like, they didn't seem phased. They didn't freak out. Mind you, this is a team that I want to say this is their third or fourth win this season that changed, that the score changed in the second half, and they were able to win it. Like they've been doing a great job at coming back, and I think that's one of their strengths. I think that's what makes them a scary sleeper team is that you could be kicking their ass in the first half, it doesn't matter, then they just come back in the second every time.
Yeah, I mean TCU, Sonny Dyke, first of all, going absolutely
He's got to win Coach of the
insane.
Year.
Yeah, he's at this point it's getting pretty ridiculous. Max Dugan, who isn't really getting any Heisman talk or anything along those lines, but that I think that even shows you how good this team is just overall playing together. Like they don't have one player that I can really like point to outside of Dugan that I'd be like, oh, he's like the main reason that they've won so many games and that they're undefeated. They've just been playing extremely well in all three phases of the game. Obviously their defense could be better, but what can you really expect out of a Big 12 team? Like I really don't. I'm not going to sit here and act like the Big 12 is like always known for their defenses. And usually when they are, they make deep playoff runs. I mean, as of now, TCU sits pretty handily in their conference. They can even lose a game if they want to, because the next closest team is Texas at 4-2. In conference play, that is, they're
No,
6-3 overall.
if they lose to Texas,
No shot.
No, Texas too.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean,
Because
the rest of their schedule is like they got through the hell of the Big 12 early.
yep,
After the Texas game, it's only at Baylor who's not good this year, and then they host Iowa State, who's even worse.
yeah. See, this is what kind of pisses me off about like only the top four make it to the playoffs because TCU's like made it as a 4 team, but if they just have their one bad game of the year
They're
coming against
done.
Texas,
Yeah, they're done.
They're done. It's too late in the year to recover. It's just not possible. That's kind of what football is. It's not really forgiving. I mean, as of now, we only have one. No, we have two-loss teams in the top 10.
It's Bama
One of them
and
is
LSU.
Yep, and they're both SEC schools.
The
So
thing is, though, Zach is like, yeah, it's cool to see like a 14-0, 15-0 team, win the ship. Like that's awesome and stuff. But like, what happened to rewarding like overcoming adversity? Like you start off 0-2, and then you just beat everyone by a 25-point margin the rest of the season.
oh yeah,
You're not the same team in week 15 that you were in week 1 and 2.
yeah. I think that's one of the things that kind of held LSU back at first. Is because they lost to a Florida State team that everyone thought was really shitty. And they were like, oh, LSU, like Brian Kelly's way in over his head. Like he should have taken the job, yada, yada, yada. Dude, Florida State just happened to play a really good game and LSU just got caught. And you've seen since then, LSU's played extremely well, which makes me want to jump into my next point about this is Brian Kelly finally getting his signature win in the SEC against Alabama. You know, stormed the field, rightfully so. I thought that was well deserved. They kind of had he was kind of thrown into the fire, like off rip. Like he lost that opening week at the neutral site, and everyone and their mother wanted that man's head. They were coming at him for his fake Louisiana accent. They were shitting on him for leaving Notre Dame. It just was not a good sight for Notre Dame or for Brian Kelly. I mean, and then to really bounce back after that, I mean, he's worked LSU up into a 7 seed right now.
Mhm.
And if you want to look at their past games, outside that opening loss to Florida State, their only other loss was to a Tennessee team that was on a warpath prior to their loss this week against Georgia. We'll get to Tennessee later, but yeah, just unbelievable. They finally beat Nick Saban and that Alabama team who just it's weird to say because like you think of like a 9-2 record or 8-2, whatever there are, you think that's a great season. But yet if you're an Alabama fan, it's like the worst season you've
Oh
seen in the
yeah,
past.
yeah.
You're
Dude, the
gonna kill
thing is,
yourself.
real quick, we're going back to the Brian Kelly thing.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm gonna be honest. I'm becoming a Brian Kelly fan. I'm gonna be completely
Yeah.
honest. He is growing on me so much. And when he got hired to LSU, okay, I was telling people, I was like, listen, I am not a Notre Dame fan. Never have I ever been a Notre Dame fan. But it is impossible to argue that what Brian Kelly did at Notre Dame with what he was given was spectacular. He did
Mhm.
amazing. I mean, he took him to the playoffs twice. He won AP Coach of the Year 3 times. He took him to a natty. Like with Notre Dame players, he got a top
Yeah.
10 recruiting class every year he was there with Notre Dame. Like they have to have good grades to get into Notre
Mhm.
Dame. Like it's hard to recruit to Notre Dame. It's not like in the South. It's a Catholic school. Like it's hard to recruit there.
Mhm.
Now you're putting one of the best recruiters in college football at LSU, where it's the easiest place in the world to recruit. Come to Baton Rouge. Come to one game. Tell me you don't want to play here. You know what I mean? Like it's the easiest thing to recruit. And then he has that game. He has the game against Florida State. Media people are making fun of him for losing. Boosters are already talking about getting rid of him. One game. He has coached one game. Okay, against a good Power Five team. Coached one game. They're already talking about getting rid of him. And now look what he's
Yep.
done. And now look what he's done. And he's getting recruits out the ass right now. Now look what he's done. You
Yep.
you don't gotta like him. He can do his fake Louisiana shit. He can be cringy. You don't have to like him. But your job as a fan and as a player for him isn't to like him. It's for him to win and for you to respect him. And he's winning and he's getting their respect. And that's why I think it's like they jumped the gun too early to shit on him. He hasn't even played with his own fucking players yet, Zach. Think about that. Think about that.
Mm.
And he lets his nuts hang. He went for two. He said, fuck it.
First overtime too.
Yeah,
Scored on
bro.
the first play and was like, "Fuck it, we're ending it." Like I got the play call. I don't need it.
I'm
It's like I don't
telling
feel
you,
like going
bro.
back and forth.
I'm not going to be an LSU fan anytime soon, but I think Brian Kelly might go down as one of my favorite coaches if he keeps up this path at LSU. And the
Yeah.
other thing I want to talk about I know you. I'm sorry.
You know, um, was it on the topic of LSU again?
Yeah, no, it was on Alabama, but you were talking about Alabama first.
Oh yeah, no, I mean we can touch on them later. Because we accidentally skipped over a game here, which also covers some SEC
Controversy.
football. Yeah, don't want to skip over, SEC football action, considering how much the rest of media conglomerates have sucked off the SEC.
Yes.
But yeah, let's talk about two of the least favorable teams on this podcast. I think in our hierarchy of hating, they are up there in the upper echelon
We should
of just
definitely get a poll made at the end of the season of our top 10 least favorite college football teams.
yes. We should have like a haters hierarchy. I think that's what we'll call it. We'll have like
Oh,
a
I like
pyramid.
that. Yeah, that's good.
We'll have like a pyramid of like it's like your food groups pyramid where like you have your essentials and it's like who we need to hate on every fucking week.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, no, that'll be at the top. And then like second level is like we're gonna diss them, like just they'll catch random strays like all the time, but like we don't really hate them. Third is like your cringe people who like I just fucking hate you
Like
because of the
it's
way
like
you
we're like
act.
kind of hopping on the wave to hate you like everyone else.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then 4 and 5 is kind of just like you did some shit, so I'm gonna you pissed in my I woke up and someone pissed in my Cheerios, and I'm gonna piss in your Cheerios
Yeah.
because I fucking hate you.
Or like
My
or like
vote,
one random play or like something that pissed me off for that weekend.
yeah, yeah. My number one is definitely just Matt McDonald. It's not even a team, it's just
It's
Matt
not even
McDonald.
a team.
Whatever he
Any team
attaches.
Matt McDonald cheers for.
Yeah, he'll be up there. But back to where we started from. UF and Texas A&M played this past weekend. Surprised me because I don't give a shit about watching these two teams.
Yeah, me neither.
But in good news only keeps getting better. UF didn't improve their standing at all because they beat Texas A&M so bad that I think people just kind of started to second guess whether Texas A&M was good at all.
Yeah. No one was like, yo, dude, you have to actually kind of
Yeah, like
good.
no, dude, like UF finally did something. It was like, nah, Texas A&M's fucked. Like Jimbo's
Yeah,
probably
yeah.
gonna
They're
get
like,
his
dude, that's
10-year
it.
contract.
They lost to Florida, bro. They're fucking horrible.
Yeah. Not like not happening. Absolutely abysmal showing by Jimbo. His NCAA 14 ass playbook just keeps getting fucking worse and worse by the game.
I do want to mention
It
though, they did get hit with that. I mean, I'm not backing him whatsoever, but they did get hit with that flu that they lost like a lot of players in their roster. But my dad said I always refer to my dad, but like I mean I see him more than any person in my fucking life. He was like he thinks the issue is that Jimbo lost the locker room. Those kids don't want to win for him. They have no like they're not like Jimbo's like, all right, let's do it. And they're like, yeah, they're like, we don't give a shit. Like they
yeah,
don't care. They what we talk about Brian Kelly with winning and respect, it's the exact fucking opposite with Jimbo Fisher. He's not
yeah,
winning, nor does anyone. The school doesn't even fucking respect him.
yeah. But I'm gonna keep it real. Fuck your respect. Just pay me my money.
Yeah.
You give me 95 million. You can wipe your ass with it before you hand it to me, dog.
Yeah,
I
I
don't give
don't
a
care either.
shit.
Yeah, that's where
Like,
they're fucked. That's where I want to talk to you about, Zach. What do you do if you're Texas A&M right now? Because if you fire Jimbo, you have to give him $95 million.
uh, I mm, see. It's hard to speak as someone who doesn't give a shit about Texas A&M.
Yeah, I know it's
Um,
really hard.
yeah, because this is also coming from a state that people bet their mortgages on high school football games. So I don't want to know what money they're putting together for a college team in the middle of College Station. These
Well,
people are
dude, this is
fucking
what's
nuts.
crazy about it is they give him all this money. Okay, they get like a brand new stadium, brand new facilities, brand new like they rebuild their fucking image for this man. All right, and then he gets back to back to back fire recruiting classes, and he's 3-6. So he has the jerseys, they have the attendance, they have that 12th man shit going on, they have the facilities, and they have the players. So there's literally not a single thing for as an excuse other than him.
Yep. Embarrassing. Because like one side of me says like, yeah, fire him, raise the money, whatever, hire a new coach. But at the same time, you need to learn from your mistakes. You need
Yeah,
to
you
sit
should
this one out.
you jumped on the gun way too. Dude beat Alabama. They gave him $95 million.
Yeah, they were like, oh my God. They were like, this man is Jesus.
If he beat
Um,
Alabama, let's be honest. Let's be honest. If he beat Alabama in that game, they should have won. I don't think they'd be that mad this year.
I think they give him a contract extension, to be
Yeah.
honest. They'd be like, oh, 10 years, 95. How about 15 and 130?
They're like, look, get us 6 wins, get us to a bowl game. We'll use the media to blow it up. Just keep beating Alabama.
Yeah, just keep doing it. And then Nick Saban's probably sitting there like, yeah, I haven't even signed an extension. Just give me 30% of Jimbo's contract and I'll lose to him every year.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't give a shit.
But yeah, real
What?
quick before we
Holy
move
shit.
on, what do you do if you're Texas A&M? What do you do?
Um, Knowing their fans, they'll probably fire him and raise the money.
Do you finish the season out with them?
Yeah. I mean, I don't think there's any point not to. Like,
I mean, what we're 9. He has. Damn, I
yeah,
think they have to win out to go to a bowl game. They do. Oh, they're so fucked. They're not going to go to a
yeah,
bowl game.
no, yeah, no, they're
They play
fucked.
at Auburn, which I'm going to be honest. I think Auburn's going to win. Then they host UMass, so they're going to get that maybe, and then they host LSU in rivalry week.
Dude, I kind of feel scared for LSU though, because that is such a trap game to
Oh
like
my
keep
god,
Jimbo's
it's
job
yeah, they're
in
five
tech.
and
Yeah,
six at Texas A&M rivalry weekend.
yeah, like Jimbo's job is on the line. Like you just know Brian Kelly is like waiting to just fuck something up so fans can like be mad at him, but yet still recognize he's a great coach. Be like, yeah, you beat Alabama this year, but you also fucked us by losing to Texas A&M.
I think if I'm Texas A&M, I see what happens. I don't fire him yet. Mm-mm. What if he
Yeah.
wins out? What if he wins out and we finish 7-6? It's a great recovery. It's a great recovery. If he doesn't go to a bowl game, you fire him as soon as the season's over. And if he does and they win the bowl game, they go 7-6. You sit down with them and you go, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna give you spring ball. All right. We're gonna give you spring ball. We're gonna see how it goes. We're gonna see what we see in the spring game. Depending on that will depend on your future. He sucks dick, he's gone. He's gone. If nothing changes, he's gone. If you see some improvement, you might as well try one more time because you gave him $95 fucking million.
Hey, but I mean, like we said, he's got the 12th man behind him. He's got a lot of things that could go right for him. It's all about capitalizing on it. You know who isn't home with the 12th man? Still deserves their respect. University of Tulane. They're 8-1 this year, 16th ranked in the country. Yet for some reason, College Game Day, who is a entity that is supposed to promote and recognize the amazing college campuses we have throughout our United States, elected to go to a 6-3 Texas to promote that game against Kansas State. Now, look, I understand
TCU.
both the teams.
It's next week's game day.
Oh, next week's game day?
Yeah, this week's
For
game
them?
day was Tennessee, Georgia.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. So you're gonna go to Texas TCU, which look, I can understand the argument for.
I
It's
can't.
it's a top 4 team versus another top 20 team. I get it. But how many Texas games this year? If I pull up Texas's schedule real quick. If I pull up Texas's schedule, they play TCU, they play Kansas at Kansas, and they play Baylor. You could have showed any other game this year. You could have showed Texas versus Alabama. You could have showed them versus Oklahoma State, and you could have showed them versus Kansas State. You could have showed those games. How often do you get the chance to see a school like Tulane, who's not historically renowned for their college football success, but you have very limited opportunities to get a team at their level and get to promote them like this? It's a school in the heart of Louisiana, or
New Orleans.
yeah, New Orleans, excuse me, heart of New Orleans. Their fans are excited for their football team this year. They're playing phenomenally. They keep climbing the rankings, and they're about to play a 25th ranked UCF team who knows how to bring the fucking packed house. Now, the game is at UCF, so we can't really argue there. But you could have at least put one game.
Dude, the game's at Tulane.
Is it? No, I'm pretty sure it's at UCF.
The game's at Tulane, brother, man.
Oh, okay, yeah, it is at Tulane.
That's
So
why it's in New Orleans. That's why everyone's saying. But this is the thing. I understand that college. You want me to be completely honest. The reason College Game Day is going to Texas, TCU, is because of money. They're going to get more viewers for that game than they would for the Tulane UCF game. Let's be completely honest. That is the only reason. It all comes down to money and viewership.
Yeah.
But College Game Day is supposed to, one, show off the campus, like you said. They've already been. They're not supposed to, two, double down on a school, and they've already went to Texas for the Alabama game. Okay.
Mhm.
And three, what's it called? Dude, you're telling me game day in New Orleans wouldn't be fucking nuts? Nuts. And four, they're supposed to promote the biggest and best game that week. Tulane at 16 and UCF at 24, both great programs. The winner is going to take home the AAC. That's a way better and bigger matchup on like rankings wise than the other one.
Yeah. And like we said, we've already doubled down and we've already seen Texas. Like, that's fine. And you know what? If you want to make it about money, then at least tell the fans it's strictly for the money. Don't sit here and say, hey, we're College Game Day. We're like created so we can promote all these great universities and their football programs and give them a chance to represent their states and campuses when we all know that that's complete bullshit.
Yeah,
That's not what you're there
It's
for.
all they want to go to the biggest game.
Yeah,
Bro, who was it? Was it Throw God that like explained the reason for the times for the games every day, like every Saturday?
I think so.
And he's like,
Yeah.
you want to know why the LSU Tennessee game's at 11? So there's plenty of time before this game, which is at this time and this time, because they want the biggest games. They wanted that when you're on your TV and it just goes from game to game to game. It's the biggest like teams have the biggest markets for the most views.
Yep, exactly. And that's why even though they're owned by different channels and you have to flip through the channels, guess what? You don't think those different media conglomerates are in contact with each other? Like, hey, why don't you start this game a little early so that way like we can get more viewers like at our time
Oh
slot?
yeah, for
That's what they check.
sure. Yeah, it's all a fucking business, bro.
Yeah, like it just pisses me off. Tulane, you deserve your respect. People deserve to watch you play football. Get yourself in a New York Six Bowl this year and prove the people that you deserve a
I would
college game
love
day.
that. I would love that. I would love them to win out and go 13-1.
Yeah.
What was the next game?
Maybe one day, yeah, maybe one day we'll get big enough and we'll have our own clocks on the stove game day. We'll just go to like the most random goddamn
I would
games in the
love that
country.
so much. That would make me so like what Portnoy used to do at Barstool kind of.
Yeah. However, I will say we're never showing up to Northwestern.
No, yeah, we would never go to
Ever.
Northwestern.
Yeah, no, never. Moving on from that, some other things that I feel kind of deserve some respect. And I've kind of been shitting on this player in particular for the most part of the year. Bo Nix for the
I'm still a
University of Oregon.
hater. Still a hater.
I
Still a
want
hater.
to, but look, I'm not gonna say I'm a believer, but I got to give him his flowers.
Dude, he
He
played
has
one real
surprised me this
defense
year.
and they butt fucked him. They
Yeah,
won
but like
49-3.
mm, week one, week one.
I
I
feel
will give
like
a
what's
lot of
happening
teams.
right now is he's just doing the most Bo Nix thing ever. And he's balling out against the shitty teams, played bad against the good teams, and then he's gonna get everyone to get their hype back into him. Like, oh my god, all right, I'm done shitting on him. Like he's finally back, and then he's gonna lose to some fucking awful ass team with the worst performance ever, or like lose a really big bowl game really badly, and you're gonna be like, well,
Well,
this is why we don't count on him.
not gonna lie to you, their last three games of the year aren't easy. At home versus Washington, which they should win. At home versus 14 ranked Utah, and they're at Oregon State to end the year. So
Yeah,
kind of
you're
have to
right.
prove it.
That's a good 3 game stretch to end season.
Now, yeah, now not gonna lie, even if they win all those games and they get their rematch with Georgia, they're still getting their ass raped.
Yeah,
It is not.
they're a participation team if they make the playoffs.
Yes, it is gonna be you played really good this year. We're
You
so
made the
proud of you.
playoffs. Congratulations.
You are the sacrificial lamb for the Georgia Tennessee rematch. And
Yeah.
we're so sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, good God. Yeah, I just wanted to give him a little shout out. I've been shitting on him all year, and the fact that they're just outside looking into the college football playoff, they have a good chance of making it if they continue their good play as of late. I know they had that really just upsetting loss in week one, but since then, been rolling, been on fire ever since. I mean, if you want to look at how much points they've put up, 70, 41, 44, 45, 49, 45, 42, 49. Haven't put up less than 40 points.
Dude,
Balling.
Cristobal, did you see that tweet Jay sent us? It was like Mario Cristobal was the one that ruined Herbert at Oregon. Like he's the only reason. He's like they had so much talent under him. They've had the best talent and best recruiting under him ever, but they couldn't fucking score on offense. He's a horrible offensive mind.
Yeah, wouldn't doubt it. Isn't Cristobal at Miami right now?
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, 45-3.
yeah. But the next
Mm,
game I want to talk about Clemson getting exposed by Notre Dame. And dude, I
mm,
was backing Clemson this whole season. Every pod, I was like, they're getting too much shit. They're getting too much shit. Like, blah, blah, blah. I backed them in every single pod we did. I even put them at like what? I put them at 3 in the
yeah,
rankings.
I believe so.
And then they got clapped by Notre Dame. Clapped.
Yeah.
28-7. And we're like, dude, DJU is gonna ball out again. He's back at Notre Dame where his career started, all this shit. Dude, I don't know what's wrong with Clemson. I don't know if Venables was that important to them. I don't know if like he was actually like the madness behind all that. I don't know what it is, but they are looking like the worst Clemson we've seen since this Dabo run started.
Yeah, definitely aren't playing their best football. Um, but it's weird. They weren't playing their best football, but it always seemed as though they could have put it together. Like they had the pieces there where they could have like if they were to play an Alabama or a Georgia or something along those lines in the playoffs. It felt like if they did put it together, they'd have a very competitive game, and anyone could have won those matchups.
And it felt more favorable to them that they didn't have to do the grind of the SEC schedule, and they only had to focus for like a big team like that for like 1 to 2 games.
Yeah, exactly. And that's not to say that there aren't a ton of teams in the ACC that couldn't upset you per se, but like you could get away with playing a little sloppily and getting away with a
Yeah,
win
you're
here or
not
there.
playing Alabama, LSU, Ole Miss, and fucking Tennessee in the same schedule.
Yeah, exactly. What I will say though is the thing that I hate every year, and oh my god, it keeps happening, and it's almost as if I'm like stuck in a nightmare. How many times am I gonna have to watch Notre Dame upset some highly ranked team amidst their shitty season,
Yeah.
and they just get thrown right back into the rankings for no goddamn reason? Because
Yeah.
if you look at their schedule, they have not played extremely well. They've just played some really good teams close and have just like gotten away with the benefit of the doubt. And now suddenly they beat Clemson, which really all it did was expose Clemson for what they were. It didn't really like prove Notre Dame to be that good. And suddenly Notre Dame's like back in the
It did
rankings. Like,
exactly what the UF win over TAMU
Utah.
did, except no, over Texas A&M.
Uh,
Like, but it did the opposite effect. Instead of being like, damn,
yes.
Clemson's not that good, everyone's like, oh my god, Notre Dame's actually pretty legit.
Yeah. I need to release a psychological evaluation of people that have seen the movie Rudy or anything related to Notre Dame football and just see if they actually give a shit about them or if it's just the historical context that like allows them to like cheer them on. My dream though is I want FSU to play Notre Dame in a New York Six Bowl just so Florida State can expose Notre Dame. And then what I know what's going to happen, which is going to piss me off even more, is people are just going to go back to realizing that Notre Dame wasn't shit, and then Florida State's not going to get any credit.
Yeah.
Whereas what it should be is Florida State should be like, oh my god, y'all played really well, you did good, like you beat Notre Dame. But I know that's not going to happen because it's going to be an ugly win. It's going to be like no scoring for like the first like quarter and a half, and then they'll like each put up like a touchdown and a field goal, go 10-10 and a half, and then it'll just end up like 24-21 at like the end of the game off some bullshit. But
Yeah, like a crazy
uh,
penalty or something.
yeah, whatever. I'm not gonna get too worked up about it. Moving on from that though, we'll give a quick rundown to some of the other games during the week before we get into our own college football playoff format. As you know, here at Clocks on the Stove, we do a top 12. So we're looking forward to getting that out for you. But UGA ended up throttling Tennessee and Athens. I thought Tennessee would be able to cover that +8. Their offense had been great, but guess what? They finally faced a legitimate defensive line, and Hendon Hooker had nowhere to run, nowhere to hide.
Got
So,
sacked 6 times.
yep. Not only that, but somehow Stetson Bennett looked like the prime version of Johnny Manziel for no reason. I don't know where that fucking came
I
from,
do
but
think I do think that Tennessee could beat them in a rematch if it happened. I don't think they looked like out of reach with Georgia. I think they just looked shell shocked. And the other thing too is I said it in the last pod. Tennessee played all their big games at home. That was the first time they were in a scary environment, and it fucked them.
yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I forget what they were saying during the Georgia game, but it was like one of the stadiums that's like known for being the loudest was only at like 105 decibels, but yet the first quarter of that Georgia Tennessee game was 115 decibels.
Yeah, no, dude, they were rock. That Georgia, dude. If you play any team in the SEC and they're in the top 10, it's gonna be fucking nuts.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, you want to talk about
Except
having
Ole
home field
Miss, their
advantage.
stadium
Yeah,
fucking sucks.
yeah, I was gonna say if you want to talk about having home field advantage across most sports, I would say college football has the most impact based off whether you're playing home or away. Because
Duke, North Carolina basketball game.
but basketball is such like a swing based game.
I don't know, dude. You
Like
gotta watch
it's
some college wrestling too, man. Going to Iowa or Penn State is not like wrestling at home. They are
yeah, but
screaming, "We want to murder you!" like they're fans.
I mean,
You
yeah,
know,
but like 115 decibels, dude, that's like the equivalent
no
of,
loudness wise, but impact wise, I don't know if you could say that.
dude, I don't know. It played like if that Tennessee Georgia game would be at a neutral site, I think we're looking at a completely different ballgame. That's a playoff game, completely different.
I agree, but also like it's a team sport. Imagine being one on one like at Iowa where it's 20,000 people for a wrestling match, and all you see is like they're all wearing black and they're screaming like, "We want them to rip your head off," and you walk out to wrestle Spencer Lee is going to actually try to rip your head off, and there's fire shooting up next to you, and you're like, "Holy shit! I'm 18 years old. I just did this to get free college, and now I'm about to die." Like,
See, I don't know. I feel like I'm inclined to disagree because when we talked to Cardenas, he was like, he's like, you kind of just tune it out at that level. Like you're just like, I mean, I know it still gets to you. Like, there's no way you can completely tune it out. Like, we're not talking like some Billy Chapel, like, the perfect game type shit where he's like, oh, clear the mechanism and like everyone disappears. But like, I mean, dude,
clear the
I feel like
mechanism.
in a team sport, because like at least in an individual sport, like you're constantly involved. But like in football, like you have so much like downtime, like whether it be in between plays or like your defense is on the field, like you're sitting on the sideline, like you are literally 10 feet away from people that are like looking up your sister's Instagram or like your girlfriend's
Yeah, no,
Instagram
you're right. You're right.
and like literally like you have like you can't you're not even like allowed a chance to like just like distract yourself because there's got to be a point in time where you got to get water, you got to sit on that bench, you got to be alone with your thoughts, and they are not going to let you think straight. We talked to we Nelson hit you up not too long ago, and he talked about how like playing at Kansas was
Mhm.
insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, like imagine that as like a D lineman, like not to discredit Nelson or anything, but he's a pretty smart guy. So I'm not saying like his job isn't like too difficult for him. Like he knows what he's doing when he's on the football field.
Yeah.
But when he's not having to think about what he has to do, there's a lot of people trying to get into his head and just take him off for a play or two. And we've seen it happen. We've seen kids lose their shit and just completely act out of the ordinary. I forget what game it was. I want to say it was a Wisconsin game not too long ago where the guy got the game sealing pick and the offensive lineman just buried
Yeah.
his ass.
LSU versus Wisconsin.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I remember
Yeah.
watching that and I was like, what the hell was that? And the
Yeah.
dude was like, he's like, oh, sorry. Like, he's like, the fans just like got in my head. Like, what?
Dude, he
Like,
caught the pick, took a knee, and then went to celebrate and just got baptized.
and like,
Yeah.
they didn't even try to fight the lineman. They were like, okay, like you just murdered our man, but cool, I guess. But anyway, I digress. Back to some other games. Michigan State ended up upsetting number 16 Illinois. The more so a poor showing on Illinois' part. Michigan
Mhm.
State, I think, has been just a dog
Yeah,
program
I
this
think this is
year.
one of those games where you're not like, wow, Michigan State's actually not that bad. You're like, damn, Illinois really shit the bed.
Yep, exactly. 15 points, kind of weird. Considering how good their defense has been and their rushing attack, it just I don't know, really weird. Kansas upset number 16 Oklahoma State, and they're now bowl eligible for the first time
Dude,
since
talk
2008.
about the fucking biggest disappointment of this season so far. It's got to be Oklahoma State.
Yeah, it was weird. We talked about it earlier, just in the aspect of Kansas. I said how they started off 5-0, and then I was like, they might not win a game for the rest of the year. I was like,
But
they could end up,
instead of that being Kansas, it's fucking Oklahoma State.
yeah, same shit. Oklahoma State now slowly falling off the ranks.
Dude, I don't understand. And it's so like this is the I get mad because I like Mike Gundy so much. And he does the same shit every single year. Every
Yeah,
year.
you know, you know what's weird to me? I feel like this is one of the few years of college football where like I could not tell you a single NFL prospect confidently. Will Anderson, sure, I'll give you.
Bryce
Um,
Young, Hendon Hooker,
I'm not putting respect on either of those guys. I don't see any true. You're asking me
Jared Sweat,
a you're asking me a guy who's watched Ohio State quarterbacks continuously suck dick in the NFL.
Jared Verse.
Jared Verse, okay, I'll give you that. But I
Um,
just mean like clear cut, like number one, like game changing players that like
oh, I Will Anderson, yeah. But
yeah. But even then,
maybe Hyatt from Tennessee.
yes, okay, he's back to but I mean like damn, it just seems like because I don't know, I feel like we were more exposed to like the true game changers when we watched games. Like it was hard to miss guys make an impact quite like Jermaine Johnson when he was at Florida State.
I
Like
also think like it's kind of different now too because like some of these dudes are like 25 and 26 because of COVID.
yeah, that might be it as well.
You
Another
know,
thing, another thing I've noticed is um just scrolling on TikTok, guys like will comment on former NFL athletes that have been like the combine or whatever, and they're like, what do you notice about like the DB group? or like the safety group, like, what do you notice about all these like skill positions? And he goes, I'm not gonna lie. He goes, everyone is the exact same. Whether you're D2, D3, D1, he goes, you are all legit copies of each other. You're all fast, you're all tall, you're all lengthy, you can all catch, you can all run routes. He goes, there is nothing that separates you. He goes, there's not a single thing. He's like,
Yeah,
it is all
we're just
whether or
looking
not
for
you
like
have the film.
one or two like tiny little details.
Yeah, and he's like, it's all about like how you do in your interviews and like how like smart you appear if you can like learn the playbook fast. He's like, however fast you can get on the field, that's what determines whether or not if they want to draft you. If they feel like you're a work in progress, they're not going to waste their time. They'll give you a
Yeah.
practice squad spot, and then guess what? You fuck up in practice
And that
one
doesn't mean
week.
you're bad, but they don't have time. Like they want the best now.
Yeah, like some teams are in rebuild mode, and when you're in rebuild mode, you need pieces. You need the puzzle pieces now. You need to know what you're working with.
Yeah, but if you're like a
And
really, really good team, you can take a developmental guy. Because sometimes a
yeah,
developmental guy, their ceiling is way higher. It just takes 2 to 3 years to get there.
yeah, I completely agree. Um, yeah, we'll move on from that. Some other games to touch on. Pitt upset number 20 Syracuse. Sean Tucker was not pleased with his performance, and
Barely
that
touched the
obviously,
ball. It touched the ball 4 times.
yeah, how can you be pleased with your performance? How can the Syracuse coaching staff be pleased with themselves knowing that they continue to cuck our boy
Bro,
Sean?
how do you have one of the best all-purpose backs in college football and you let him touch the ball 4 times? Like the whole point is to give the you want your best players to have the ball and make the plays.
Yeah, like their coach said, he goes, "Oh, we're gonna get Sean Tucker involved this week. We're gonna make sure he's directly involved with this game." Was he though? Was he?
4 touches.
Yeah, was he
Nice.
really that involved? Another game that was kind of a surprise, and another team I feel deserves some notoriety this season is Liberty. They ended up beating Arkansas 21-19. I don't look. I got to be honest. I want to hype up Liberty, but at the same time, I've not watched a single game
Yeah, I haven't
of
watched
Liberty.
a Liberty game. I think actually maybe they played Cincinnati. I don't know. I haven't watched Liberty game, but dude, like Hugh Freeze is a phenomenal coach. He's never been a bad coach. He didn't get fired at Ole Miss and all these other places for being a bad coach. He had it because he did some pretty bad criminal activity. All right.
Dude, holy shit! If Liberty's only loss is a 1 point loss to Wake at Wake,
Yeah, they're
the
fucking
third
good.
week they have
Dude,
wins over
he's been there the last three
BYU.
years, and look how good they've gotten, and look how much he's developed Malik Willis.
Their last true test is Virginia Tech.
That Virginia Tech just lost at home to Georgia Tech. They're not going to a bowl game.
I'm well aware, but the rest of their schedule is UConn and New Mexico State. You want to say that's their toughest test?
Dude, no, Hugh Freeze is a great coach. He was amazing at Ole Miss, but
Here's
he has
here's
a very bad criminal record, so he can't coach Power Five. So he's just gonna make Liberty a powerhouse.
See, here's my problem.
I'm
Even
being
if they
dead
went out,
serious too.
I
I
know.
like Hugh Freeze. I'm being serious.
Even if best case scenario they went out, Liberty wins out. Do you give them a New Year's Six bowl
Yes.
at 11-1?
Liberty versus Tulane at 11-1.
You see, I would have said give them a real test just to see if they're like, because here's my thing. If you're one of those lower seeded teams that beat out your schedule, like you went like 11-1 in their case, but like you're not a non-power five team, what I think you need to do is I think you need to schedule them against a mid upper tier power five school to see how they really line up. So that way you know where to put them in the preseason rankings next year. Like me
I
personally,
think what you
I
do. I kind of agree. I kind of agree with what you're saying. Yeah, no, keep going.
because and what I want to see is you put that Liberty team up against UNC, against Utah, again because here's my other thing.
Like a
It,
like a
it,
like a like an upper pack, lower upper pack team.
yes, because my problem is if you face Liberty off against like an LSU, like I don't think their line, like I don't think their
Yeah, they
offensive
don't.
line and
Their
defensive line,
players physically can't.
yeah, they just can't compete. Now you face them against a Pac-12 team where it's mostly known for offensive firepower. Guess what? You create a great environment for the fans because they get to watch a shootout. It's gonna be a high scoring game. And hey, let's be honest, most people aren't tuning in to Pac-12 games to watch defense and non-power five games to watch defense. That's just how it is. you give him a team like North Carolina where you have a promising freshman quarterback in Drake May. You throw him against Liberty defense to see what he can do. And hey, if he gets exposed by Liberty, then you kind of know that maybe not that guy. Who knows? There's a lot of other teams on here where I would like to see it play out. Them against UCF would be fun to watch. Them against Washington, Kansas State, Illinois, even NC State or Penn State. I think Liberty could beat Penn State. I'm really not too
Yeah.
high on Penn State anyway. I will give Big Ten teams their respect. Their war is one in the trenches, but my faith isn't in Sean Clifford. And to be honest, the way they beat Arkansas, I'm kind of riding on Liberty a little higher than most.
I think
Most
I
other
think you do what you're saying, and you give him what I call the Cincinnati treatment, right?
Mm,
You give them a little test like that. All right, they win. You throw them in the top 10 next year in the beginning of the season, and then they're in control of their own fate if they win out. They lose, but it's a good game. Like when Cincinnati should have beaten Georgia and they lost like by that fucking last second field goal.
mm.
Throw them in the top 20. Let them throw them in the top 20. They got to get a Power 5 win, and then they can control their fate.
Yeah.
When you're a non-Power 5 team, it doesn't. It kind of takes 2 to 3 seasons to get. I mean, it took Cincinnati 3 seasons, even though they were good enough probably the season before. It took them 3 seasons to get that love. So it usually takes like 2 to 3 seasons. They're looking for consistency.
Yeah. But I mean, yeah. Didn't yeah. So you want to think about it, the last time we really saw like a non-Power 5 team get put up against a really strong Power 5 team was that 2006 Hawaii team, RIP Colt Brennan. Um, but
There was other times. No, there were other times.
yeah, but like this was like the main reason we don't do it anymore is because that Hawaii team had the best offense in all of football. They were putting up like 70 points a game. They looked ridiculous.
Yeah, but
And
Jack,
then,
also like I know you love that team, but the AAC is way fucking better than the WAC was.
oh yeah, 100%. But at the same time, like if we try to do the same thing with Liberty, where it's like, oh well, give them a chance. You never know. Like no, like I'm
No,
sorry,
you
like
give
you
them a
put
little test. They pass the test. You give them their respect.
yeah. Honestly, give Liberty Texas A&M. Fuck it.
No, Liberty would beat Texas A&M.
Exactly. So in gym, really, really piss off Texas A&M fans. Let them know how truly garbage they are, and just end their misery.
But yeah, coming up
um,
next, we got number 24 Texas upsetting number 13 Kansas State 34 to 27. I didn't watch the game. I don't know anything to say. I didn't watch anything about this game
yeah, unfortunately, wasn't able to tune into this one. Not a big Texas
because
guy.
I was watching FSU baptize Miami 45 to 3.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. That game kind of got boring to watch. I usually
I stopped
enjoy.
watching after it 21-3. I stopped, or 21-3 or whatever it
Yeah,
was. I stopped.
it's really weird for me. To like watch a rivalry game play and not want to watch Florida State just murder a rival. But at the same time, it wasn't even it wasn't even a good ass whooping. Like it wasn't even like Miami was playing like good football and FSU was just dominating. It was literally like I was watching Miami players just give up on the game of football.
Yeah,
Like it
like
was
this
watching like
this 45 this 45 to 3 win didn't feel as good as the national championship year when we beat them like 42 to 10
yeah, not at all.
because
Not at
they
all. Because
played good and they were good and we just stuffed them. This was like we just beat up on a homeless kid.
yeah. It was like forcing your 5-star linebacker like and telling him like, hey, we need to win this game, and they're trying to screw us over by making their Make-A-Wish kid score a touchdown right now to go up by 1. You're you're stuffing that hole. You are stuffing that hole.
I
You're
don't care how much media hate you get. You are flatlining that
yeah,
kid.
they're doing this on purpose. They think we don't have the balls to stuff him, and they think
Oh,
their Make-A-Wish is gonna send them to the playoffs.
you
Fuck
see the
it.
video that came out like a couple weeks ago?
Yes. The kid knew immediately too, because he was like, I got the backfield way
Yeah, no, he
easy.
went like this. He went, oh, and all the fans go, yeah, oh.
That is the literal
Oh,
reincarnation
dude,
of
that kid
FSU
has to
Miami.
transfer. That kid has to transfer.
Dude, I can just imagine going into school the next day and like you go to walk past like you go to walk past like the special needs like classroom, and like your friends like are immediately like touching you, and they're like, "Oh, you better watch out, man. He's gonna end up spearing. He's gonna end up spearing one of them." You're like, "Bro, come on, dude. Like, it was an
Yeah.
accident. Like, come on."
I wonder if
Oh
it was
God,
an accident. I don't want to dive into it anymore. Fuck that.
I don't know.
But
Yeah,
yeah, Zach, week 10's over. Week 12 college football rankings will be dropping Tuesday night. You want to give us a little insight on what your week 12 college football playoff rankings would look like? Top
yeah,
12, by the way, we do full bracket.
yeah. Um, hmm. Look, I'm gonna keep this short and sweet. I'm gonna
Well,
get
well, let's
very
just do this.
minimal.
Zach and I are the exact same for the top six, which I
Yeah.
believe
So
is
let
pretty consensus with the entire country.
Yeah. Georgia at 1 after what they did to Tennessee. Ohio State's 2. They're still undefeated. Michigan 3. They're also undefeated. TCU at 4, just for how well they've played this
And
year.
they're
They're also
undefeated.
undefeated.
Yeah.
Tennessee's only loss is to the number 1 team in the country, so we're not going to drop them too far for that. Oregon at 6 because they've bounced back since also losing to the number 1 team in the country. You're starting this little trend here.
So that's where
And
Zach and I stay the same.
yeah,
This
yes.
is where
That
controversy comes.
yeah. You know what? Do you want to go team by team?
Yeah, we can do number by number. So at
All right.
number 7, Zach's coming in with USC and I'm coming in with LSU. You want to explain your pick?
Yeah, so the reason why I'm coming with USC is just because honestly, I think their preseason ranking has kind of carried them up to this point. Um, you know, they haven't played their best football. Their only loss is to a ranked team. They're probably should be this high anyway, but at the same time, only one loss. I mean, anywhere through 7 through 12, I could understand an argument for putting any of those teams. I'm not really going to care. Obviously, it is a big placement because if you're looking at the college football standpoint, that's only 3 spots out from the top 4 seeds. But honestly, the reason why I would want to see them in this spot is because I believe that would match up Oregon playing Alabama in the first round, and I just want to watch Lincoln Riley die. So I was holding that. I was withdrawing that from you. I knew you disagree with me on why I put them there, but it was only because I want to watch USC get absolutely baptized by Alabama in the worst bloodbath of a round 1 game of all time. So
Respect.
yeah, so the reason why you'll kind of notice my trend. The reason why I set up my top 12 the way I did isn't really for like who's the better team. It's what matchups I wanted to see play out round by round. Like I want to see if they beat this team, I want them to play these guys. Like that. I kind of screwed around. Like I definitely pissed a lot of fans off, but they'll thank me afterwards when they watch bangers of a fucking playoff schedule.
So
But
I did mine entirely. Like I told Zach, rankings aren't based on like how good you think a team is or who you think would win in a head-on match. It's based on what that team has done thus far this season. So I'm putting LSU. I understand they have 2 losses, all right, but their wins are better than Clemson. Excuse me. Their wins are better than UCLA, Ole Miss, and USC, who have 1 loss, and they beat Ole Miss. They also beat Alabama. Okay, their wins are great. Their only losses are to Tennessee, who is one of the best teams in the country, probably overall the second best team in the country behind Georgia. And Florida State, which they lost on a blocked field goal, blocked PAT to go to overtime in a crazy games. I think it was week 0 opening week game. So no, it was week 1. So it was give them love, bro, and you have to give them the respect. They're good. Jaden Daniels good. They're a good team. I'm putting that 2-loss LSU team at 7 over them. At 8, you have LSU and I have UCLA. So instead of putting USC has not beaten anybody. They haven't beaten a single ranked opponent. And their last 2 wins were ugly. Okay. And their Oregon State win was ugly. They haven't shown me anything thus far to what I know what they're capable of, but they haven't shown me what they've done. UCLA has a win over Utah. UCLA has a win over Washington, both ranked teams. Their only loss is Oregon, which was an 8-point game. I hate UCLA. I don't even like UCLA, but they're good. Dorian Thompson, whatever, what's his name? Dorian
Robin
DTR,
Thompson.
Dorian Thompson Robinson, good.
Mm.
Like he's amazing. I think they're a good team. I think their wins and what they've done so far put them at 8 for me. At 9, you have UCLA and I have Bama. What makes you put UCLA at 9 behind LSU and not the other way around?
Um, I think LSU outside, if they don't lose that week 1 game, I think they're considered a fringing top 4 team in the country, especially after last week's win over Alabama. Look, if you, I mean, if you look at it just what Brian Kelly's done with that team. Like they're a really good football team. Like they are really solid. Like I said, I mostly just kind of based it around the formatting of how they match up. I kind of screwed up the way I did it. So yeah, LSU would play UCLA. So either one, they were kind of interchangeable. I just
Yeah.
thought LSU would be. I thought LSU would win the game if they played UCLA. That's why I have them as the higher seed, just based off favorites. Um, but I would like to see LSU play UCLA. I think that would also really high scoring, fun watch. Two
Great
great quarterbacks,
quarterbacks. Yeah.
great quarterback play, insanely fun to watch. I did mess up though in my rankings. Now that I realized it would have been Tennessee, Clemson, and Oregon playing Alabama. So I kind of messed that up there. What I should have done is I should have put LSU at 7.
You could have put Alabama at 10.
Yeah, damn. I could have
Anyways,
reworked that
finish
better.
off the rankings. Zach's 9 to 10, 9 to 12. UCLA at 9, Ole Miss at 10, Alabama at 11, Clemson at 12. I got Bama at 9, Clemson at 10, Ole Miss at 11, USC at 12. I think Ole Miss as the win over Kentucky that gives them that jump over USC. I think Clemson, if they don't lose to Notre Dame, they lose to anyone else in their season, they're still a top 8 team. The Notre Dame one is just so ugly, and I think that's why you got to give it to Bama. Bama's only losses were both away games, one on the final play of the game.
Yeah,
That's it. That's my
I agree.
facts.
Yep. Just my defense for Bama. Look, I understand the, I guess, reasoning behind their 2 losses. You're both in tough environments. You're playing away. Both are 1-score games that came down to last plays of the game. I get it. But at the end of the day, no matter how much I want to defend teams, I have to be fair. I have to treat everyone the same. 2 losses is 2 losses. No matter what it is at the end of the season, people are only going to look 10 years down the road. People are just going to look back and say, why did a 2-loss team get in over someone else? And
That's
I
why
can't.
we need the 12.
That's why we need 12. Because guess what? You put 12 in there, no ifs, ands, or buts. You'll probably get in anyway. Don't lose. Win.
College football recap. Thank you.